Instead, they are just out to disrupt and cause problems to the other parent. It's a way of asserting power, control, authority, because they need to continue doing it. And without intervention, domestic abuse will always continue through the child arrangements, and this is one of the ways that it may manifest. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Survivor Diaries. The title of this episode is Holidays and the Abusive Co-Parent. In actual fact, this episode would apply to any special days or changes to the routine of the children and the difficulties that can arise when you are attempting to co-parent with an abusive personality. So I will just, as I always do at the beginning of these episodes and every vlog, I'll just clarify I am a solicitor in England and Wales, and therefore any advice given is specific to this jurisdiction. It's very general advice. Unless I've spoken to you personally about your case, you shouldn't rely on this advice per se. The job of solicitor is to understand all of the different variables in a case and to be able to advise on that specific incident or specific question that you have with regards to the law. I'm also working on the model of the abusive personality as set out in Pat Craven's Living with the Dominator and her book, which goes along with the Freedom Programme. This is where the patriarchal system that's been in place previously, the society has generated it to tend to be from a male to a female. We might need to cut that out because I've said that loads and loads. However, people still seem to take offence if I don't clarify that right at the beginning. So the summer holidays have just happened. One of the things that I've realised is that there is a change to the routine for a lot of children. Obviously there's the summer holidays, and it's a change for the routine for the parents as well. So the school summer holidays with older children, even with younger children, there may be issues with nursery care or holiday times that need to be resolved during the summer holidays. And one of the things, as I've been speaking to people more behind the scenes, off the record, that I've noticed over the summer is that there seems to be an increase in the problems caused in the abusive relationship, in the abusive co-parenting relationship. A classic example would be where the children are planning to go on holiday, there's no order in place, so the parent subject of the abuse requires the permission of the other parent with parental responsibility for travelling abroad, and that may have been given and then withdrawn just shortly before travel, and that obviously presents a difficulty. Tickets may have been bought, the children may be looking forward to the holiday, and I'm going to talk about what you can do if that's happened towards the end of this episode, so the mechanism that you would need to take in approaching the courts to get permission in that particular circumstance. First of all, what kind of problems come up? Remember, the purpose of these videos is to increase awareness and understanding both for the court user experiencing difficulties in the child arrangements where domestic abuse has been a feature, and also to increase awareness for the family justice system and to demonstrate in this episode in particular one of the more subtle forms of coercive controlling behaviours that can happen around the child arrangements. So that example that I just gave, where the permission has been given for the holiday and then it's been withdrawn, in that situation I am immediately, as a solicitor, wary, because if a parent has given permission and then taken permission away, then that is not likely to be in the child's best interests. It's assuming that they have already gained the permission. So it immediately alerts me to the fact that there may be other types of domestic abuse ongoing in the relationship, and it's usually a good time to ask about the relationship generally. So if I'm seeing this as a solicitor, I want the court not to see cases coming to them where it appears that the parents can't agree about whether a child should go abroad. The court's view is generally going to be that a holiday is in the interests of the children unless there's safeguarding concerns. So if the parents can't agree that a holiday is in the child's best interests, then it must be symptomatic of something more than squabbling parents. And I want the court professionals, judges, solicitors, barristers, CAFCAS, I want there to be more widespread training along the lines of the Freedom Programme, so that the more subtle types of abuse, which is a kind of mental torture, can be understood by the court so that they can better protect the survivors, usually, who are having to have this interaction with their abuser because of the children. And that's exactly what these videos are about. So the problems that come up, again, going with Pat Craven's model, these are the characteristics of the jailer. So in the previous example given, where permission is given to go abroad and then it's withdrawn at the last moment, that's the controlling tactics of the jailer. And the motivation there is not about the welfare of the child, it is about causing harm to, causing problems for the parent, the other parent of the children. And that's because the abuse, they need to find a different way to continue with abuse after separation, and often the arrangements is the only way they can do that. The jailer, we know from Pat Craven, the jailer isolates us from family and friends, various tactics to keep us from seeking help, to keep us from being able to go out and socialise, enjoy ourselves. These are the things that the jailer will continue to do. The jailer may make last minute changes to the agreed contact. For example, if it's been agreed that the children are going to spend time with him and it's going to be a time when the other parent hasn't got the children, so decides to go away. If the abusive parent then understands that the parent is going away, they may suddenly say that they can't have the children, for example. And again, it's the tactics of the jailer, but this is how it presents in the child arrangements. They may also ask for holiday contact and then at the last minute not have the children. And then the children are looking forward to a holiday. This is often accompanied by blame towards the mother as to why the holiday can't happen. For example, child support, child maintenance are taking money again, something like that. And so then this particular abuser may have no issues as well with telling the children that they're not going on holiday and that this is because mummy is needing all of daddy's money, or there'll be other more subtle things attached to this as well. And we're straying into the bad father as well now, who is using the children and manipulating the children. And what I'm hoping that you can see is that the abuser has not got the interests of the child at heart here. They're not thinking about whether or not it would be good for the children to spend time on holiday with him, or whether it'd be good for the children to spend time on holiday with the other parent, which is what you're hoping is going to be happening and what will be happening in a non-abusive situation. Instead, they are just out to disrupt and cause problems to the other parent. It's a way of asserting power, control, authority, because they need to continue doing it. And without intervention, domestic abuse will always continue through the child arrangements, and this is one of the ways that it may manifest. It may be that they refuse to have contact on an arranged contact day. For example, if it's I'll be gender specific, if it's the mother's birthday and the normal contact is on a Saturday evening from 6 p.m, they may decide that they're not going to have contact on that particular Saturday of her birthday until Sunday morning, and thereby trying to, well, successfully quite often, scuppering the plans and making sure that they still can show that they have that power, and the abuse of that power, and how the abusive personality will continue that through the children. It's got nothing to do with what's best for the children or spending time with the children. It's all about upsetting the mother, showing that they have that power to do so, and that's why it's harmful for the children. There's no recognition of what's going on for the children. And as well as that, if you are constantly undermining and making things difficult for one of the parents, that's got to have a knock-on effect onto their parenting. It's got to make them, if their weekend away as a birthday surprise was suddenly scuppered. Second time I've used that word in this episode, and the plans can't go ahead, then obviously you've got a more depressed parent, one that could have done with a relax, a break. But it isn't about that kind of mutual support, mutual co-parenting that you would see in a non-abusive situation. As well as this, the abusive personality, again with the bad father, and quite common with younger children, it's quite a common tactic of the bad father to contact the other parents when the children are distressed, thereby making sure that the other parent cannot enjoy her time away. And again, not recognising that we don't really want the children to be distressed, so wouldn't it be better to be focused on the children and making them not distressed? Not to an abuser. An abuser's sole motivation and object in seeking child arrangements, in seeking time with the children, hard as it is to swallow, and I know I'm potentially going to offend a lot of probably non-abusive fathers, but I'm drawing a very clear distinction between the non-abusive, the friend personality, and the abusive, the dominator characters. So again, the idea of, I'm hoping that I'm also mentioning good practice and what could happen as well in these videos, so that you can see and give yourself a quick check. Are you being supportive in a co-parenting sense, or is it that you are undermining, or etc, etc. I'm hoping that that's something that comes clear from these videos. Just like the book at the end of each chapter or section about the different facets of the abusive personality looks at the positive role model, the friend. So the opposite of the jailer is the liberator. The liberator supports outside activities, would want the children to be happy and having a good time. He would agree to fixed dates, and he would be steady and willing to have the children when he said he would, or support the children being away with the other parent, because that parent, the good father, would know that it's in the children's interest, and he may also wish to take the children away, and he hopes that there's that reciprocal respect and around the co-parenting. So again, switching onto the positive and looking at what the positive example would do, I'm hoping that you can see again that the allegations of domestic abuse are something that's just not made up, because if you were co-parenting with a person who was supportive of your time, supportive of your parenting, like you would be mutually with theirs, who could maybe help with changes at the last minute rather than causing problems at the last minute, why would you make up allegations of domestic abuse against this person? If you've got the opportunity here to spend time just relaxing, knowing that the children are safe and happy with the other co-parent, why would you do it? Why would you not want to take a small break from that very difficult task of parenting? So we're coming back to what it is that the abusive co-parent will do, and how this fits in with Pat Craven's Dominator, and how it fits in with the issues of holidays or special times. The abusive personality is also a liar. So as this goes to court, the question of whether the children can go on holiday or not, they will say that the consent was never sought. There's no agreement about it. They may invent concerns about the travel, either the people that are travelling with the mother or the children, or the places that they're travelling to. And this can of course make it very difficult if you're trying to save up for a holiday with the children, and you then have to go for a specific issue order, which I'll come on to later is the thing that you need to do in this situation. Obviously it's the financial outlay, it's a rush, it's a stress. These are the things that could potentially happen around these changes, these holiday plans, and it's a way that the abuse continues through the child arrangements, in the actual practical arranging and the power that two co-parents with no other orders in place, both needing each other's agreement for travel abroad, this is where it can be open to abuse. So why are these problems happening? Why does it work like this? And this is because, as I've mentioned in previous videos, this is because abusive co-parenting is not the same as two parents working together for the best interests of the children. The abusive co-parent, the only motivation in that contact with the children is to continue to get at and continue to abuse the other parent, to continue to punish the other parent for leaving. And so the focus is on undermining of the other parent, and what I want the courts to be quicker at picking up is that these seemingly simple questions about holiday travel, they're likely to be symptomatic of deeper problems and potentially domestic abuse continuing in that particular arrangement. I want the courts to see that, and I want court users to see that if they are experiencing these kind of difficulties, so that they can flag this up with the court. So that's why the problems happen. We're going to look now just quickly at what to do if, for example, permission has been given for travel abroad and it's then been withdrawn at the last minute. If you are two parents who do not have any other orders in place, you do need the permission of the other parent, assuming that you've both got parental responsibility, to be able to take the children abroad. The law will generally say that holidays are likely to be in a child's best interest. It's a good thing for children to be able to go on holiday, and they would expect the parents to be able to sort this out themselves. So they can be a little bit grumpy about the fact that two parents seem not to be able to agree on this very simple issue of holidays. When in actual fact, as every mother who is in an abusive relationship or had an abusive relationship with the father of their children will be able to tell you, it's not like that at all. It is only about causing problems for the mother. So the law will say that generally it's a good idea if there's no safeguarding concerns. One thing that the court are always focused on is the welfare of the child. That's their paramount consideration. So it's section 1, subsection 1 of the Children Act, which says the welfare of the child is the court's paramount consideration. So holidays, generally, they're going to be seen as a good idea unless there are safeguarding concerns or very good reasons why they shouldn't happen. The application to make, if you need to bring this before the court, you would be going on an urgent basis if you've got a date of travel imminent, would be a specific issue order. And we've mentioned in a previous episode, which was about family law applications, and I tried to cover some of the other proceedings that could be ongoing at the same time as child arrangements. And one of the things that I did discuss in there was the Section 8 orders. So that's the living with order, spends time with order, the specific issue order, and the prohibited steps order. When the court is looking at a question or an aspect, any aspect of the Section 8 orders, they're able to make orders, other orders as well. So if you've made an application for a child arrangements order, they can also make a specific issue order within that, or a prohibited steps order within that, if they feel that it's necessary and in the child's best interests. If a child arrangements order is in place, then there is a standard paragraph that confirms that the person with whom the children live may take the children out of the jurisdiction for up to 28 days without the permission of the other parent. So one of the things it might be sensible to do if you are co-parenting with an abuser is to seek an order that the children live with you, so that the question of whether or not you can take them out of the jurisdiction isn't something that you're having to get permission for, which of course puts you in a position where you can be abused, as we've described, in the different ways in what it looks like, okay? So the different ways that the abuser will try to jail us, and the abuser will lie about it, and the bad father elements as well, not focused on the children's best interests, and using the children to continue the manipulation and upset of the mother. So I'm referring back to a previous episode on family law applications and the Section 8 orders. All of the Section 8 orders, the application is made on Form C100, and I advise you to look at the video on child arrangements without domestic abuse and the normal steps in the proceedings that would happen, and also then the second episode, which is child arrangements proceedings when domestic abuse has been a feature in the co-parenting relationship, and that will show you that the pathway that the application will take. Hopefully it will happen quickly, and you've ticked for urgency, which means that you don't have to do the mediation requirement, and hopefully that will resolve the problem and the court will see your evidence. Especially if you've bought return tickets already, that's good evidence that you've got, supports the idea that you thought or assumed that you had consent from the other parent. Quite often the court may ask for an undertaking, which is a solemn promise to the court that you will return with the children on that day that you've got on your return date, and the consequences of breaching an undertaking, that solemn promise, is potential committal proceedings, because it's seen as contempt of court. So it's a strong thing to be able to say that you promise that you'll be able to come back. Remember that the holidays are generally seen to be in the child's best interest if there are no safeguarding concerns. And I hope that if you are experiencing these particular difficulties during holiday periods or special occasions, that assists you with knowing which application to make and how to alert the court to the difficulties that you're having. Thank you once again for watching. I hope that that's been useful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode and or vlog of the Survivor Diaries. Thank you again, and bye.